All right, good morning, my friends. Brian here with VetteSource, back today with another little tutorial here, if you will. We're going to be talking about the C4 Corvette parking brake, which has, over the years, caused quite a bit of frustration, consternation, and downright aggravation over its operation, which is funny because it's actually kind of a simple device, and you wouldn't think that it would be so problematic, but it is kind of amusing, especially for something that has, even according to GM, only saw fit to put 3 or 4 sentences in the owner's manual about how to operate this thing. Now, for those of you that are not aware, when you get inside, of course, and for the younger audience, manual transmission equipped cars have usually a parking brake activated via a handle. They became common in the 60s, all the way up into the 90s, even in 2000s. But the traditional parking brake handle always would, it started out under the dash right there, and then it moved over into the center console area, and you just always knew that as a kid, you pulled up on the handle, you heard the ratchet click, and that lets you know that the brake was engaged. So on a standard shift car, if you happen to have it in neutral, it just wasn't going to go anywhere. It was like a extra safety mechanism. In fact, the 69 Corvettes and above also have a shift interlock cable tied into the steering column, and it's a safety measure. I think some of the other cars may have had it too. I just know the Corvette specifically have it, so that when you go to pull the key out of the ignition, if the transmission was not in reverse on a standard shift car, you physically could not get the key out of ignition. It's called a back drive cable. A lot of them don't have their back drive cables anymore, so you can just yank that key out of there anyway. Now on the C4 Corvettes, you've got the push button basically here, which most people don't even notice it. There's a little button right here, and to get that thing out, you got to push in to pull that back to the off position. I'm not sure how that's supposed to make you remember to put the car in gear, but like in this case, this our Aqua LT4 car here that we've done quite a few videos on, this car does not have a working brake handle at the moment. The brake assembly, I think it actually needs adjustment underneath, which we'll delve into in another video. But anyway, before I get sidetracked, the parking brake handle was always here. Now, when the C4s came out, they moved the parking brake handle over here in the corner beside the seat, which is really bizarre, because, of course, a lot of people were confused because we were used to a handle being in the upmost up position when you activated it. So how are you supposed to get in and out of the car when you activated it, right? We made the jokes about, busting your nuts climbing over the center console because the shifter cable, not shifter cable, the brake, parking brake assembly was in the way. So go to the service manual. This is what I always like to do, just to explain this. And then, of course, I've got one that's actually removed here. It's got basically half a page, a few sentences, just tells you to set the parking brake, hold the brake pedal down, pull the parking brake lever up, then move it back down. This sets your parking brake even though the lever is down. That one sentence right there is what people miss and what confuses everybody, because the engineers did a good basic job of describing this, but we were so used to growing up as kids, a parking brake being lever being up, it was hard to understand. Of course, if the ignition's on, the parking brake indicator light comes on. To release a parking brake, this is where people really got in the weeds on this, and this is where they get broken. Hold the brake pedal down, pull the park brake lever up until you can push in the release button. Hold the release button in as you move the brake lever all the way down. That's it. That's all they tell you how to do this. Now, let's look at one that's actually been removed from the car so you can kind of see what's going on here. Now, of course, this is the way it looks here. These are obviously your, ergonomic imprints or indentions in the handle to put your hands on, and there's your button right there. But what this does, it comes back into kind of a unique process into this bell crank here, right, where it pulls up and down. I'm gonna see if I can do this one-handed. So if you look there, you see that piece there. When you pull up on it, what it does is, I may do this a different way. Let's see if I can do this a different way so you guys can see, because I did not bring my didn't bring my proper equipment out here. So as you pull up on this right here and go back, it moves that back, and you can see from here what it's doing. It's pushing that whole assembly back, and this is where your cable ties in right here. Your cable ties in right there and wraps around that loop there and goes back, and this is where it comes back and goes through the body of the car back there, okay? So now we actually have the parking brake assembly in the locked position, and you're gonna leave it right there. That's the stowed position for the handle, so that's how you get in and out of the car. Now, you see here this rod right here, right? This is the rod that actually pushes down. Now you remember that part of in the instructions where it said push in the handle until it can actually go down, or push in. So you see there, it really won't go in, right? But if I keep pulling, see how it activates that piece right there? See that spring-loaded piece? And then it draws it. If I can get it the right way. Right back down again. And that's basically it. That's how it works. And then of course, once it brings it back down, that spring-loaded rod comes back out of there. What happens where the confusion starts is people try, and you can actually see the teeth right there. See them in that corner? That's where those activate right there. See that pole right there? What you're doing is you're releasing that pole. So what happens is people get, and they forget where they're supposed to pull this up at, and they start jamming this in, and it gets stuck. And then with time, that edge breaks off or gets worn, and then the parking brakes won't work anymore. Or the grease dries up inside of here. This really has just this old like Cosmoline type grease. And for those that don't know, Cosmoline is way back in the, I think they started that in the 20s or 30s. They would coat military, it was military application. They would coat stuff in Cosmoline grease to keep it protected. And that's basically what this stuff has on, is a heavy duty grease on it, and the grease will dry up with age, and then it won't activate like it's supposed to. So it's really kind of a unique design. There you can actually see, there are those three teeth, the teeth right there. There's that inner bell crank that spins, and then of course your main handle. And then of course it's just bolted to the body of the car right here, and right underneath here. So that's basically it, right? So coming out here to show you correct operation, right? So you'll pull up, it's activated, right? Push it back down, pull up again, get just a little bit of tension on it, push the button in, hold the button in while you're coming down, and pull it back down. That's it. That's the whole thing, guys. There's really not much more to it. So, you know, that way you don't have to try to climb over the parking brake handle every time you get in and out of the car. So that's going to wrap it up for me today. It's kind of a short one. I've got other stuff I got to go do at the shop. Just thought I'd show this to you guys and let you see how the proper operation is. Kind of an interesting thing. Let me know if you guys have ever had any troubles with your parking brake handle. God knows I've sold enough of them over the years to customers. So we'll have some fun in the comments about that. But thanks everybody for watching. And I'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks.